Let's go back to the Sasha Feinberg and Gambazulu, because you asked Andy Farrell about that just in the press conference there.
I just put it to him exactly as Rod said. Did he feel, and I guess he was never going to answer it in a public sphere, but if you could get Andy Farrell off the record, you'd love to hear what he thought, because South Africa came out at the start of this week and said that they felt like they weren't being treated fairly by the match officials.
Just to go back to what you said about Andy Farrell in the press conference, and he said he's never going to say it. Like, why not? Like, Rassie Erasmus uses the media as a weapon, as part of his coaching armoury, and it works for him. Like, he's brilliant at it, and the best coaches do. And it frustrates me that Andy Farrell is just getting ratty at journalists again today, having been a ratty at journalists again on Thursday, instead of using these forums to apply pressure in the right way, to make sure, like, he's clearly upset with the refereeing of the scrummage. He said that pictures that they submitted to the World Rugby around the scrummaging, what they think is South African illegality, from what's effectively the third choice for South African props, we should remember, were ignored, and that the perception against Andrew Porter, which has long been there, particularly with English referees, seemed to. But it was very hard for Mike Hardy to do anything other than penalise Ireland. They were crumpling under the South African pressure, and the South Africans, whatever they were getting away with, Ireland didn't problem solve that. So, I just get frustrated by the fact that the Irish management so rarely
come out and say something publicly.
Well, like, why not? What's going to happen to you? You get a ban? Well, like, Rassie's got plenty of bans. It hasn't harmed them long term. You learn from these things. So I'm not saying be disrespectful, but, like, if you've got points to make, this is a great forum to do it. It makes it more interesting, but also it's influential. It puts public pressure on. It gets fans in behind you, because he's got 40,000 odd Irish people who are howling derision today, who are ready to hear. I'm not saying you pop off at the ref, but you come up with, and maybe you do it before the game rather than after the game. But I just think that's something that frustrates me.
Yeah, I just don't see Andy Farrell ever going down that route. I just don't think it's his style at all. And, like,
that's a weakness.
Well, like, I mean, you can say it's a weakness, but I don't know if we want every head coach coming out and kind of acting like Rassie was back in the Lions tour. Now, I know he's kind of toed the line since then, but it was very pointed what they did earlier on this week in terms of putting up the assistant coach stick, who clearly applied the pressure. But, like, I think Andy Farrell's, would you guys agree, glass was certainly half full.
Definitely came out very positive,
I'm kind of surprised by that. I wonder if he's going to be delivering the same kind of messages. And look, I can understand why, in terms of they avoided a cricket score being put on them, but I think they have to be really honest about the demolition, really, that was there, particularly at the scrum. Well, and can I just make one point, though? As the scrum was being dismantled from the very first scrum, by the way, and we made this point when we were chatting last week, that Andrew Porter has a perception, rightly or wrongly, with the referees, and I wondered if it might have been a good idea to start Paddy McCarthy. Now, that point is a bit redundant, because Paddy McCarthy came on and really struggled as well. But as Porter was struggling, the thought occurred to me, if this, and it would happen to South Africa, Rassie Erasmus would take his prop off without thinking twice. And then you look at the flip side, the flex of changing his starting props, who were demolishing the scrum at the very end of the half to win the penalty try, was peak Rassie Erasmus and peak South Africa. Like, just unbelievable how they did it. Like, they changed the props, nothing else changed. Meanwhile, Andrew Porter then got binned later on. So that's the kind of ruthless streak maybe that you'd like to see a little bit more of.
I thought we were done with moral victories in Irish rugby. I'm surprised that, maybe, look, Andy Farrell has to spin things a certain way, and he certainly, from talking, you and I have just done the mix zone, the players are coming out with the same message, that they're proud of the fight and the courage, and there was fight and courage, and there was some unbelievable plays on the line to deny tries in the second half and to keep the score, and they won the second half for whatever that means. But they won the second half while South Africa stopped taking points. They just kept scrummaging.